This is 70s Sitcom Flashback, the show that looks back at the sitcoms that defined the 1970s. Your hosts are Robbie and Terry, both 15. Every week they break it down so you actually get it.
The show that looks back at the sitcoms that defined the 1970s. I'm Terry.
And I'm Robbie. And today we're talking about Laverne and Shirley, two best friends, one bottle cap factory, and approximately zero filter.
This show was a spin-off of Happy Days, which was already huge, and it premiered in January of 1976.
And it didn't just do well, it became the #1 rated show in America almost immediately. Like, immediately.
We're talking about Penny Marshall as Laverne DeFazio and Cindy Williams as Shirley Feeney, two working-class women just trying to make it in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee in the late 1950s, to be specific, so the show had this fun retro feel even though it was airing in the 70s.
Laverne always had that big L on her shirt, which apparently Penny Marshall insisted on because she kept losing track of which costumes were hers on set.
So, the most iconic fashion choice on the show was basically born from someone not wanting to dig through a laundry pile. Respect.
They worked on the bottling line at Schote's Brewery, which honestly sounds exhausting, but they made it look like the best job ever.
Their neighbors, Lenny and Squiggy, would burst through the door at the worst possible moment every single episode, and it never got old.
It really never did. Michael McKean and David Lander played those two, and they had actually invented those characters back in college.
So Lenny and Squiggy existed before the show even did, just floating around waiting for their moment. That's commitment to a bit.
The theme song Making Our Dreams Come True was performed by Cindy Greco, and it hit number 25 on the Billboard charts.
A sitcom theme song charting on Billboard. The 70s were a different time and honestly, a better time for theme songs.
The show ran for 8 seasons, which is a genuinely impressive run, especially when you consider how much the cast and crew went through.
Things got complicated behind the scenes. Cindy Williams left before the final season after some pretty serious disputes over her contract and working conditions.
Which means the last season is just Laverne, and it's set in Burbank instead of Milwaukee because the whole group had moved to California.
The Milwaukee to Burbank pipeline is real, apparently, though I feel like the show lost something when it left the brewery behind.
The brewery was basically a character. You can't just swap it out for a California film studio and expect everything to feel the same.
At its peak, the show was pulling in something like 60 million viewers per week in the late 70s. That number is staggering.
To put that in context, the United States had about 220 million people total at the time, so the math is wild.
Roughly more than 1 in 4 Americans was watching Laverne and Shirley on any given week. That is a cultural moment, not just a TV show.
And what made it work, I think, is that these weren't glamorous women. They were regular people with big dreams and bigger personalities.
Laverne drank milk and Pepsi mixed together, which is either the most disgusting or most iconic beverage choice in television history.
It's iconic. It's gross. It's both. Penny Marshall actually drank it in real life, which somehow makes it even better.
The show also quietly broke some ground. 2 women at the center, running their own lives, not defined by husbands or boyfriends.
For a show set in the 50s and airing in the 70s, it managed to feel surprisingly forward-thinking about female friendship and independence.
Laverne and Shirley didn't need rescuing. They needed each other, maybe a little luck and occasionally a very fast escape from Lenny and Squiggy.
Their friendship was the real engine of the whole thing. You believed they'd been best friends forever, and that came through every episode.
Penny Marshall and Cindy Williams genuinely were close in real life, which probably helped. The chemistry wasn't manufactured, it was just there.
though their real-life friendship got strained toward the end of the show's run, which is kind of heartbreaking given how much it defined both of them.
Art and life getting tangled up together. That happens a lot with long-running shows, and it never seems to end neatly.
The show ended in 1983, so it just barely crossed out of the 70s decade it defined, running all the way into the early 80s.
It went out while still ranking in the top 20, which means it didn't overstay its welcome so much as it just kept getting pulled back in.
The legacy is real, though. You still hear people quote it, still see the L monogram referenced, still catch reruns finding new audiences.
Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Hassenpfeffer Incorporated. If you know those words, you either watched the show or your parents would not stop quoting the opening.
That little chant at the top of every episode, the skipping down the sidewalk, it's one of the most recognizable openings in sitcom history.
For a show about two women bottling beer in Milwaukee, it left a remarkably enormous footprint on American pop culture.
It proved that working-class stories told with warmth and great comic timing could connect with basically everyone across the country.
And Laverne and Shirley did it week after week for 8 seasons, which is harder than it looks and rarer than it should be.
If you've never watched it, find an episode. The physical comedy alone is worth it, and the friendship at the center will get you every time.
Start with Season 2. Trust me and report back. That's our show for today. See you next week on 70s Sitcom Flashback.